Hey guys, thanks again for subscribing and watching. I had a couple people reach out and say that they really enjoyed these, and so it just gives me more momentum to keep going. But I also am excited at the fact that in 5, 10, 15 years, my kiddos, when they want to know about certain things, will have a way to look back and read those. Okay, so first of all, this is my hat. This is actually the trans flag, and I was doing some research on it because there's not a ton that I know. But this one was created in 1999. I'm looking at the official site for this. And this is from pointofpride.org, and it was created by Monica Helms. And apparently, the blue stands for the typical color associated with baby boys. Pink is associated with baby girls, and the white is those that identify as like non binary, right? And intersex, if you will, as well. Now, what's cool about this that I just learned is that the trans flag, whether it's flown upside down or not, is still the same. And so the quote is, "The pattern is such that no matter which way you fly it, it is always correct, signifying us finding correctness in our lives." And I read that tonight and I thought, wow, that is beautiful. That is phenomenal. Like, I can only speak for myself, but in my journey, there have been a lot of moments where I could easily get lost, um, but I'm rooted in one fact, and it's the fact that I've never felt happier in my life. Um, so I wanted to share something I wrote March 3rd, 2022. This stems from talking about my journey. So when I first came out, I thought I was a lesbian. And I've always been interested in women my entire life. Uh, Lesbians will understand. I think heterosexual men will also understand that. But as I began to explore the concept of perhaps I'm different, perhaps I'm something else, I wrote this down. So I wanted to read it to you, if you don't mind. Get a little smaller. So it's called My Closets. Let me go down a little. It says 34 years. It took me 34 years to come out of the closet. I guess if you subtract my baby and preteen years, then technically I was only in the closet for 25 years. But that sounds better, doesn't it? I spent a quarter of a century fighting my identity, fighting nature, fighting whatever it is that makes me, me. Coming out of the closet really is as big a deal as the gays make it. Before I came out, I used to think, what's the big deal? So they came out of the closet. So what? Now I know. The closet that keeps us quiet keeps us scared and keeps us small. It's an everyday battle threatening to consume us. That closet has ghosts, ghosts that whisper, end it. You're not worth it. You're sick. It is amazing to me that anyone survives the closet at all. Now I understand why so many LGBTQ plus people never make it out. Why the thought of ending your life is more appealing than living it. My closet was something I buried deep inside my heart, and when my head tried to peek inside, I buried it deeper. I understand why coming out of the closet can be just as scary as remaining in it. This world is not a kind one to those that are different. You can't win if you're too fat, too thin, too rich, too poor, or too out of the ordinary. If you fall even a centimeter out of societal norms, then you're an outcast. Growing up as Mormon, I fully believed that I was what I was taught about homosexuality. That to be gay is a sin, and those that embrace their queerness can never return to God's presence and gain exaltation. They can never be with family in heaven. This thought, this doctrine caged me. It trapped me so powerfully that I dated, married, and had kids with a man I never fully gave my heart to. Ironically, I always thought my faith was what would save me, but instead, losing it did. And I want to pause right here for a second. I have a lot of people in my life who are still very much active in the LDS faith. And I just wanted to say I love you. I hold nothing against you for your practices and your faith. Just as I truly believe that those that love me don't hold it against me what I believe or don't believe any longer. So I think that's really important. I'm not here to attack somebody's faith. I'm just letting the world know, letting people closest to me know that it doesn't work for me anymore. It doesn't. It brought me a lot of good things in my life, being religious. But it also did some damage. And right now in my life, I'm figuring out that damage and working through it. So anyway, let's resume. So the time that I write this, it is not even a year since I came out. And just as I have emerged from one closet, I step into another. Inside this closet is Johnny. Remember Johnny, the plaid-wearing, black Fender guitar-slinging, crooked-smiled Johnny from a previous post? Yeah, that Johnny resides in my new closet. And he's there pacing from one tiny corner to another. His eyes are an ocean of hurt and hope, mixed with hesitation and excitement. I will admit that Johnny's closet has moments when the door is ajar, when he can roam about untethered and unafraid. Those moments are with Emily. Emily's my girlfriend, by the way. Only Emily has met Johnny, and perhaps she will always be the only one. Emily has the only key to a room that only I know exists. The thought of letting Johnny out is terrifying. There's so much more to admitting I'm transgender when it comes to liberating Johnny. Wow, transgender. This is the first time I have penned those words, and the weight of them takes my breath away. The mere fact that I can barely utter what it is I am feeling gives credence to the notion that the world isn't ready for Johnny because I'm not ready for him. In those moments of pure joy when I am with Emily and there are no closets in eyesight, I am experiencing the most happiness I have ever felt. Just as happiness occurs, so too does guilt and shame. My former self, the closeted Chelsea, emerges in the corners of my mind. She whispers, "End it. You're not worth it and you're sick." Thankfully, I know how to get rid of her. I've become very proficient at pushing back against the indoctrination I had no choice in partaking in. But this is an everyday occurrence, and sometimes I feel too exhausted to try and battle it. Sometimes I say to myself, what's another 34 years? This is dangerous thinking. It's like duct taping a leak in a dam. Sure, duct tape is freakishly strong, but at some point the leak pushes through. At some point the duct tape fails. I do not yet know when that will be for me. I'm writing all of this down as a way to prepare myself for when that day comes. So for now, I leave Johnny pacing in the corner with the occasional cracking of the door. So, with that being said, thank you for listening to that. When I wrote that back in March, there was, I would say, I was working through a lot of hurt in my own life. And when I talk about like the indoctrination and things like that, I chose to keep going to church when I was older. And for a long time, my faith saved me. My faith gave me my two babies that I have today, my kiddos. And I'm grateful for that. But I'm also really grateful that I finally let Johnny out. And I'm really grateful that I have people in my life who support me. A lot of people in my life, and it's overwhelming the amount of support that I have. And I also have a lot of people in my life who have similar stories to mine. And right now they don't have a voice, and if I can have any part in helping their stories to come forth too, I think that's a worthy cause. So, if you have questions, reach out. If you want to know more about something, reach out. I encourage you to do your own research.